To some of you, this may seem silly, but in my hand, I have several receipts. I think, in fact, there's more than 30 receipts here from a local fast food chain called In-N-Out Burger. Now, some of you may know In-N-Out Burger, but it's okay if you don't. But this is my favorite fast food chain. And every time I go there, I get a number. And it's my customer number. And I love to be customer number one. In fact, every time I'm customer number one, I keep my receipt to prove that I am customer number one. Now you may be wondering, what does that have to do with happiness? What does that have to do with self-worth? What does that have to do with anything? Well, the reason that I wanted to share this with you is that for most people, getting customer number one is meaningless. But for me, it means a lot. But it's only the meaning that I have assigned to these receipts because I enjoy being customer number one. I enjoy it so much that look at this. I have saved every one of these receipts that I am customer number one over the past several years. What is it in your life that you're assigning meaning to that perhaps it's the wrong meaning? For example, let's say that you were to lose your job. You may be wondering, why did I lose my job? What's going on here? I can't believe that I lost my job. You may just be wondering, what is it about that? Why me? Well, guess what? You may never know. And losing your job only means one thing. It means that you lost your job. But so often in life, we try to assign meaning to the things that happen to us. Someone may think that because they lose their job, they're no good. They may think that because they lost their job, they were a poor performer. They may think that because they lost their job, they're a loser. None of that is true. And so often in life, we try to assign meaning to things that's not that meaning at all. For example, let's say that you have a close friend and you have some good news to share with them. And so you call them and you leave them a voicemail. And a day goes by and you don't hear from them. Another day goes by and you don't hear from them. And you start to wonder, wow, did I do something wrong? Are they mad at me? Are they upset in some way? No, it only means one thing, that they didn't call you back. That's all it means. But so often we try to make sense of things by giving them meaning. And all too often it is a negative meaning. And so I urge you and I challenge you that when things like that happen, don't give it any meaning. Just accept it for what it is. For example, many of you have probably interviewed for a job that you really wanted to get. And as you interviewed with the job, you feel very confident that you're going to get the job, and the hiring manager says, hey, we're going to call you on Friday. We're going to have a meeting on Thursday. We're going to make a decision, and I will call you with the decision on Friday. Well, Friday comes, no call. Saturday, no call. Sunday, no call. Monday, no call. Tuesday, they still haven't called. And you're just really worried. Oh my gosh, what did I do? I can't believe maybe I messed up in the interview. Maybe I said something wrong. Maybe they don't want me. You see what's happening here? You're giving it meaning that has no meaning. It only means one thing. It just means they haven't called. So often in life, we create negative emotions by assigning meaning to things that doesn't make any sense. And it can really have a distinct and definite impact on our lives. So again, I challenge you to don't give meaning to things that have no meaning. Because when you assign that meaning, a negative meaning, it does one thing. It creates negative emotions, and chances are you're beating yourself up for something. And you may even get mad at something that you have no reason to get mad at. Let me share an experience with you from my own life. Because sometimes we assign meaning to things that happen to us or things that we have done that make us feel that we're losers, that we've made a bad mistake. Here's what happened to me. When my son Taylor was 5 years old, we went to the beach together. And during this period of my life, I loved to fly stunt kites. You know, a stunt kite is where you have a couple handles and you're going to pull on the handles to make it dip and dive, and it goes really fast and it makes a lot of noise. I loved flying stunt kites and loved flying them on the beach. And while I was there, the wind was perfect, and I was standing in the water, and the wind was blowing onto the sand, and I was there flying my kite. It was a wonderful experience. Well, my son Taylor, 5 years old, came to stand next to me, and we had a great time. I was talking to him, and we were flying the kite, and I really didn't notice, but the wind started to die down, and I had to back into the water, and I kept backing into the water to keep the kite up in the air. Well, unfortunately, I hit a dip in the sand, and I fell in the water. When I got out of the water, my son was gone. I could not find my son. He was right there by me. I didn't know where he was. And the next 45 minutes changed my life. I looked around in the water. I thought my son had drowned. I went and talked to the lifeguard. He didn't see any little boy floating in the water. He didn't see anyone fall in the water. And yet my son was missing. So I went and started looking and searching for my son. And I did not find him for almost an hour. And during that hour, I felt some terrible things, like what a terrible father I am. How bad could I be? Focused on my kite and not on my son. Well, it had a happy ending that I found my son after about 45 minutes, and we were reunited, and it was a significant experience in my life. However, because of that experience, I did not fly a stunt kite for 17 years. Why? Because every time I thought of a stunt kite, it made me feel like I was a bad father. Because while I was flying that stunt kite, I lost my son. He could have drowned. He could have died. He could have been missing for many, many hours, many days, many months, many years. But because of the meaning I assigned to that experience, I stopped enjoying something that brought me a lot of satisfaction in my life. I know that there are things that have happened to you in your life that because they had a negative outcome, because they were significant, because of the pain, you've assigned it meaning that maybe you're a bad person, maybe you're a bad wife, maybe you're a bad husband, maybe you're a bad son, maybe you're a bad daughter. That's not the meaning that you should assign to that. Yes, I needed to look at that and understand, was I being selfish? Could I have done it differently and learned something from it? But that's all it meant. It didn't mean I was a bad father. It didn't mean that I was a bad person. It only meant one thing. It meant that I wasn't paying attention, and my son got lost for almost an hour. When things like that happen to you in your life, I want you to resist the temptation to beat yourself up. I want you to resist the temptation to assign a negative meaning to it so that you can move on with your life. Perhaps you're recently divorced, and because your husband has rejected you or your wife has rejected you, or maybe they were unfaithful, and you think it means that you're a bad person or that you're not worthy. That's not what it means at all. Don't assign that meaning to it. I want you to think that sometimes in life, things are just simply meaningless. And by that I mean, assign it less meaning so that you don't beat yourself up and you don't become critical of yourself and you don't think of yourself as a bad person. We all want to find meaning in our life. I understand that. But I challenge you that when things like that happen to you, they are meaningless.